If you look at the story of Hannah, 1 Samuel chapter 1 and 1 Samuel chapter 2. Now, you see, Hannah was barren. Eventually, God gave her a child. She had an ordinary child. The reason why I call it an ordinary child is because, you see, the day they gave birth to Samuel, that was not probably the only child that was given birth to at that day. There were probably about maybe some thousands or hundreds of children that were born in different parts of the earth on that day. By the way, Samuel was not the only child that Hannah herself gave birth to. So there were many children that were born on that particular day. But the reason why Samuel was distinguished from the rest, the reason why Samuel was distinguished from our elder children, was that Samuel was given to the Lord. So what I'm trying to hit on here is how to turn children. You see, every child that God gives to you, I'm talking about physical children here, I'm talking about those of us that are fathers and mothers. Every child that God gives to you is an ordinary child. What will distinguish that child from the rest is that that child is given to the Lord. What distinguishes an ordinary child from a child that is proper, if I will use the biblical language, is that what that child is given to the Lord. Right from when Samuel was 2 years old, he had been living in the temple. You know, Hannah and the Lord, Hannah and God had a bargain before Samuel came to be. Hannah told God that, God, if you're going to give me a child, I'm going to give him back to you. And as soon as Hannah became pregnant and she delivered the child, the Bible said that Hannah breastfed the child. And when after Hannah weaned the child, that's after the child stopped taking breast milk and the child began to eat the normal food that adults that adults eat. And you know, based on our normal knowledge of biology and children development, we know that children are breastfed at least from the moment they are giving birth to 2 years of age. So I estimate that the child was with Hannah for at least 2 years, and Hannah had to make that difficult decision. You know what it means to release a child that is just 2 years old? And I'm talking about a woman that has been trusting God for a child for a long time. What it means to release a child that is just 2 years old? A lot of questions will have been running through Hannah's mind, because from that day she will only get to see Samuel once every year. That is when they go to the temple to make sacrifices. And she gave Samuel, right from when he was 2, Samuel became a servant to Eli in the temple. And you know, Eli will be sending Samuel around, go and do this, go and bring that flour, go and light that candle, go and light that lamp, fill that lamp with. And Samuel was doing right from when he was 2 years old in the temple. It was not long after that Samuel began to have special encounters. Samuel began to have visitations from God. The voice of the Lord and the word of the Lord began to reveal themselves to him. Why? Because what? Samuel was given to the Lord. Hannah gave an ordinary child to God, and she got a national prophet with an established reputation in the land. And so this question is going to fathers and mothers. Do you want your children to become instruments of the supernatural? If you want your children to become instruments of the supernatural, you will need to give them to the Lord. Hannah gave an ordinary child to God. And you know, just in case, I want to ask us, do you know that it's possible that after God gave Hannah that child, what if Hannah just decided that, God, that's it, that I promised you that I was going to give that child back to you, I don't think I'll be able to do it. You know, that time that I made that promise, I made that promise under duress. I don't think I'm going to be able to give that child back to you. If Hannah had changed her mind and she did that, that child would not have turned out the way it turned out. Only God knows what will have been the future of that child. But she gave that ordinary child to God, and she got a national prophet with an established reputation. If you look at what the Bible said about Samuel in 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 19. 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 19. The Bible says, and Samuel grew, and the Lord was with him, and did let none of his words fall to the ground. You see that? And verse 20, the Bible says, and all Israel from Dan even to Beersheba knew that Samuel was established to be a prophet of the Lord. So you see there, the Bible said that Samuel grew and the Lord was with him. You see, if you really want God to be with a child, give that child unto the Lord. The Bible says that God did not allow any of Samuel's words to fall to the ground. That's a prophet. To the extent that all from the entire borders of Israel, the north, east, south, and west, they knew that Samuel was established to be a prophet of the Lord. You know, it is established was so serious that even when Saul was looking for his father's sheep, that's I'm talking about the journey that eventually made Saul to meet with Samuel, and that made Saul to become the king of Israel. While Saul and his father Samuel were looking for those 5 donkeys that were missing, and they searched 5 different villages and they did not see those donkeys. Saul was like, see, I think we are going to go back because we've tried, we've exhausted our energy and all of that. Let's just go back and tell our father we didn't see them. And the Samson said, I've heard that there is a prophet in this land and God is truly with him. Can you imagine how the hand of God was really on the life of Samuel, to the extent that they were looking for donkeys? And the servant knew that if we can locate locate this person, this particular problem will be solved. That is the level of grace, that's the level of lifting, that's the level of endowment that can come on the life of a child that has been given over to the Lord. Now the question is, somebody will be asking that, what do you mean by we should give our child to God? Are you saying that maybe our children should go and start living with the pastor of our church, or our child should go and start living in the church that we attend? No, that's not exactly what I'm saying. To give a child to God means to allow that child pursue his or her God-given destiny. What it means to give a child to God is to allow that child pursue his or her God-given destiny to God. What it means is to relinquish control over the what, the how, the when, and the where of that child. It's to relinquish control of the what, the when, the where, and the how of the affairs of that life. It's to relinquish control of it to God. That's what it means to give a child unto the Lord. So you may not do the way Hannah did, that Hannah took the child and then she took it to Eli. As it stands now, the way ministry and churches are structured now, we don't really have church the way it used to be in those days. So I'm not saying you should take the child to church and maybe the child should start going to school from church. That's not exactly what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that it is to allow that child pursue his or her God-given destiny. It is to relinquish control on the what, the how, the when, and the where of that child to God. When I look at my own personal life, particularly when I was a teenager, one good thing that I thank God that my parents did for me, that I would say really helped me to advance in my spiritual and my mental to advance in destiny, was that they gave me, to an extent, a lot of freedom. Right from when I was, let's say, 8 or 9 years old, I used to go for camp meetings. I can't count the amount of camp meetings and camps that I've visited. All kinds of programs I used to go for. All kinds. I will go for this. I remember when I finished from secondary school. I think maybe I was in SS2 or SS3 at that particular time. We used to live in Ibitemeta West at that time. When I'm coming back from school, my school used to be at my school was at Pamgrove, Onipa and Pamgrove. When I'm coming back, I will stop at Jibo. There used to be one library at that particular time. That place is both a bookshop and a library. The name of the bookshop is Edison Bookshop. I doubt if they are still in existence now. So it was a bookshop, big bookshop. They had a lot of books, and the good thing was that they also had a library at the back. Like if you enter the bookshop, there's a door inside that leads to another room, and then they have some of the books that are for sale. They are in that library, and you can use the library. The only issue is that if you come there, you can't take the books away. You have to read the books in that library and stay. So when I used to come back from lessons, when I'm coming back from my lessons, from the lessons I will go there and go and read those books and spend some hours there. And there I had encounters with all kinds of different new things there. I've been seeking the face of God. Let's say, as I said, actively from when I was a child, particularly when I became a teenager. And the reason was because what? To an extent, I was given a lot of freedom. A lot of freedom. Although there's a balance to these things that I'm saying, but I'm trying to establish a particular point that if you really want to secure the destiny of a child, if you really want to secure the future of a child, give that child over to God. Remember when we read in 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 19, the Bible says that, and the child Samuel grew, and the Lord was with him. If you relinquish control over the life of a child and you genuinely hand over that child to God, God will deal with that child. There's a divine preservation that will be upon the life of that child to ensure that the devil will not take your hand in that child's life. But based on maternal and paternal instincts, parents always, sometimes like to lord it over and control and determine the how and the where and the what and the where of that. But this is a call for parents to genuinely allow their children to pursue their God-given destiny. I remember the story of Pastor Jerry Eze. He told the story of while he was growing up, right from when he was in, I think, junior secondary school. There are several times, he would tell his mother that he senses that God is telling him to take some time to pray. And so he will go to school fasting, and then when they close from school, he will go to the church and he will be in the church fasting. And his mother will bring his food from the house to come and meet him in the church. And sometimes his mother will sit with him in the church after he finished praying, and then the mother will ask him, "What did God tell you?" Those are examples of parents who have given their child over to God. They allow their children to pursue their God-given destiny. And he said he used to do that over and over, right from when he was in secondary school. Whereas that same child that is doing that, some other parents would have said that, what will you be doing there? Why don't you be doing this? That is not a productive use of time. And as I said, there's a balance to everything. But if you really want to secure the life and the future of your children, please allow them pursue their God-given destiny.